thank you. I'd like to welcome you all to come out for the new Ice Arena stakeholder meeting this evening. Two items. One, I'd like to thank Councilman Ested, who is back in the back there. Thank you for coming out this evening. Also, Miss Perry up here in the front was the first person ever on the Bowie ice. She told us that this evening, so. Yeah.
That was December 3rd, 1971. David was 5 years old. I took him out to center ice. He had 56 on and fell on his face. And the wind guards then were all volunteer firemen, most of them. And they had to call and make sure that he was all right and not going to bleed. So that's how reliable I am. Don't ever hire me. Hire me to be safe.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Councilman Estes. So I'd like to take a second to introduce the city's project management team, starting with our Assistant City Manager, Daniel Mears, over here. Carrie Robertson, you all know her that go to the Ice Arena regularly. Lori Cunningham, who is the Assistant Director for Community Services. Myself, the Director of Community Services. And Mr. Jim Sickelman here, who is our project manager. He works with our Department of Public Works. I'd like to go over a couple ground rules before we get started. First, this is a public discussion, not a debate. Everyone is encouraged to participate. No one or two individuals should dominate a discussion, so we want to hear from a lot of folks. When you speak, state your name and where you live. We'd like to hear that. One person speak at a time, just common courtesy. Listen to and respect others' points of view, and please participate in the breakout activities that we're going to have at the end. It's going to provide us a lot of valuable information. So, Mr. Sickelman.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
So, my name is Jim Sickelman. I am a project manager with the Department of Public Works. I've been with the city for about 20 months now. By trade, I'm an architect. So I was a natural fit to kind of shepherd through the team through design and then into construction. Although I am new to the city, I am not new to ice. I am a hockey parent like a lot of the faces out here. I spent about 8 years in that very cold ice arena. So I'm familiar with ice in Bowie. I'm familiar with Bowie. I live here. And so, I'm happy to be here. So my purpose in starting out is to try to put a lot of good factual information out there and provide some history as to the project. Now, I'm not going to go back too far, but I will go back to some very specific events that got this project started. And this project, to the uninitiated, is a replacement of the existing ice arena, which is currently at Allen Pond Park, with a new single-sheet facility with equivalent architectural programming. And so what that essentially means is we're replacing a 50-year-old building in one location with a brand new building that is roughly equivalent to it in a second location. One of the questions that comes up very often is why that needs to be the case. Well, I'm sure I don't need to tell people that spend a lot of time in this facility, this current facility, that it's not in great shape. Can it be renovated? Yeah, it can. Can it be done cheaply? Absolutely not. And I'll get into some more specific history about that. We've got a lot of studies and a lot of research that indicate that that has not been the case for quite a while. So for anybody that doesn't have a firm grasp of where this is, the street address is 7704 Laurel Bowie Road. That may not mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but certainly the Bowie Golf Course does. Directly across from Rockledge Elementary and just north of the Senior Living Center is a portion of the golf course site that is currently vacant. That is our site. It's about 7.5 acres, and it's a tight little site, but it gives us exactly what we need, which is enough for parking, a single sheet of ice, and the ability to expand to the north. And that was very specific, a specific driver of this project. Back in September of 2021, we received a facility assessment on the existing facility from 292 Design Group in Minnesota. that estimated the renovation cost of that building to be about $27 million. Subsequently, not too long after that, there was a motion on the part of a city council member who set us on this path, which was to look at a series of sites within the city that were city-owned that could be utilized for this purpose, and to try to figure out whether or not it would be cheaper to build new or to renovate what we have. It didn't take too long to figure out that building new in this specific situation was probably a better fit. There are a lot of building types that can be renovated for far less than they can be built for new. Ice arenas, much like hospitals, are not one of them, especially when you're talking about a 50-year-old building. There have been studies along the way, as I've mentioned, trying to capture what the cost would be to build new as well. In 2017, Hughes Group Architects projected a cost of $22 million to build new. In 2021, 292 Design Group, who did the existing facility study, did a feasibility study with this specific site in mind and came up with about $21 million in 2021 money, which was less than the projected cost of repairing the existing facility. That is ultimately what put us on the path of being where we are now. So a little bit less about that and about how we've gotten to where we are. As I said, the feasibility study was completed April 1st, I think, of 2022. It was at that point that the project truly kicked off. I joined the city about 2 weeks after Tom gave his presentation, just by pure happenstance, and the project kind of became mine almost instantaneously. I worked on the request for proposals for about 3 to 4 months. It went to our legal department in October of last year, and finally in January we got the okay to put it out on the street. At that point, we had 7 firms that sent us proposals. Somebody, I did see a question on Facebook recently, asked why we didn't hire a local architect, and we didn't. We had 4 of the 7 proposers were local. 2 were in the state of Maryland, 1 was in Virginia, 1 was in Washington, D.C. They actually didn't score as high as, well, 1 did. One from Maryland scored very high. The others didn't score too high. We had 4 finalists we all thought were excellent candidates. At that point, we went to interviews in April of this year with 4. 2 stood out amongst the others, and 2 kind of fell by the wayside. Ultimately, we went to contract with JLG Architects in Minneapolis, Minnesota. With us tonight is a member of JLG who happens to have been a member of 292 Design Group. So we've managed to be lucky enough to go through the entire process of getting an assessment on the existing building, a feasibility study completed on a new site, and design with the same team. So we're really excited about where this project has gone and where it's come from and where it's going. So I have more, but I will keep it brief. And with that, I will turn it over to our design team. Tom Betty. Nick, do I need to kick it back to you, or should I go directly to, okay. So again, we have our design group here, JLG Architects. With us is Tom Betty and Derek Keycaver. So I will turn it over to them to do the presentation of the facility.
Everyone hear me okay? So Tom Betty, JLG Architects. Been involved with this project for many, many years through multiple studies and so on, and excited about it. ICE became a passion of mine in the early 90s, about 93, 94. So since then, 30 years, been designing ice arenas all across the country. Have about 60 plus ice sheets in operation right now. So everything from community level ice to NHL and everything in between, with probably 80% of the work being community-based ice arenas just like this. So I'll spend a few minutes and kind of give you a high-level review of all these boards that you're seeing in front of you. And then afterwards, we have other activities and things we're going to be doing, and Derek and I will be here to answer questions and so on. But as Jim mentioned, you know, the goal of this was kind of replace like for like, but let's bring it up to today's standards. Let's also look at this facility, what I always say, let's not design it into a corner. Let's make sure we have outs on it. And as we step through that, we'll show you how there's expansion opportunities, because it's best to take those into account early on, because I think it's being stewards of the money of Bowie residents and looking long term. So with this, we'll start out, you can see it up on the screen. Derek's going to be my mouse, so hopefully he can keep up with what I point to. But location, Jim mentioned, you know, Laurie Bowie Road runs north-south. We have Rockledge. We have the elementary school right across. And then that teal-colored block is the ice arena. It's roughly 49,000 square feet. We're, you know, roughly providing 136 parking stalls. This really works out well. It allows us to have that 136 parking stalls, a lot of your day-to-day, you know, main use, probably 70% of your use, and then we have the ability to overflow, especially in the winter months when the golf course isn't, you know, being occupied as much, so we can share some of that parking and therefore reduce some of our site costs. It's hard to see on this plan, and you can see it a little bit in the next one, but we're taking advantage of the site. If you go out there and stand there, you may not understand how much it slopes. It slopes about 14 to 15 feet from one end of the building to the other. So what we want to do, instead of building this thing up, bringing in a bunch of fill and dirt just to prop it up, we want to integrate it right into the site. Does a couple things. Minimizes our site costs. Number two, it takes this big building and kind of integrates it in so it doesn't feel as large on the site, which I think is nice when we're looking at our, you know, the neighbors around it. So it has a nice scale to it. We do have things like bus drop-off, you might want to point to there, and car drop-off. You know, it's important. A lot of parents are dropping off kids and so on. So we want to make that an efficient process. And then we have the front of house that we call it, so the main entry and kind of the public spaces. The big rectangle in the middle is the ice sheet. We are doing an NHL size ice sheet, 85 by 200. People in the audience may not know, an Olympic sheet is 100 by 200. Maybe 5% to 3% of our work is putting in an Olympic ice sheet. If anything, we're reducing and eliminating Olympic ice sheets. So this is the way to go. It's 20% less in size, which means 20% better for operations. And quite frankly, it's a little tighter area, so I think it creates better skaters. And that's my own little diatribe on that. And then we have our back of house, and that's where the Zamboni's at, and you know, the mechanicals and the storage yard. So what we're trying to do is create this building that has a public side, has the back of house side, and also create a safe building that when we get inside, we'll show you that. Why don't we all hold for any questions and so on. We'll just step through this. We are on the site, by the way. This is going to be a LEED Silver building to follow the City of Bowie's requirements for all new builds. And so we are, you know, managing the stormwater, doing everything we need to do with bioswales and so on. And then we have some really nice features. The one thing I'm going to say about LEED Silver, and especially as it relates to ice arenas, these buildings consume a lot of energy. And when we can do that, it really lowers your long-term operations because it's a more efficient building. So it really is forward thinking and being careful with, you know, the environment and the use of energy. When we go next. This is a 3D aerial that we did, and you know, one thing I should mention, you can point to it, but if you've been here to the site, that road that goes into the golf course is rather narrow. So we are increasing the width of that to create 3 lanes, right out, a left, and a right in. So it'll really help the flow of traffic through there. We are keeping some of the security gates, we'll move them so, you know, we can secure the site and so on. But you see the parking lot. The introduction of greenery within it, trying not to make it look like a big box parking lot, with the ability to have pedestrian walkways that go in between. You have a lot of kids hauling bags, different things like that, so we want to make it a safe environment. And then you can see where the ice arena sits right in there, and that bottom corner is the entry, and then the box of the ice arena. It really nestles in nice, and we're excited. And then that green part to the north is where the expansion would go. Why don't we head to the plans?
Maybe one more quick mention. can go back to the plan. With the advantage of the split level, 2 levels, there would be a dedicated player entry as well that would come straight into the ice, onto ice level.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to see, but it'd be down in this far southwest corner of the building.
So here's the floor plan, and this is the upper level floor plan. So you're entering in roughly 14 feet higher than the ice level. And so I'll do what I do with a lot of these presentations. I'll take you through the front door and we'll just walk through the building. I think it's the best way for people to understand it. So right where the big green arrow is, those are the front entry doors. To the right, that purplish color is, pro shop or manager's office and administrative space, roughly similar to the size they have now. To the left, the thing with a bunch of lines on it is the stair that goes downstairs, and then the blue area is the pro shop. So kind of front and center, some visibility, easy to get to. And then as we proceed up, that peachy pinky area is the restrooms, and within those we'll have all the ADA requirements. This building will be 100% ADA compliant, everything from team room access, bathroom access. We are putting in a unisex toilet room or family toilet room, so we'll have that within here. And we have mother's room within here. Those are some of the things that have just changed over 40, 50 years of ice arenas. The green area as we move up the hallway is our concession area and concession storage, so it's kind of front and center to the rink. That gray area running the whole length is really our lobby space, and it's wider, so people can be in there, have access. And then if you go all the way to the top of that gray area, you'll see it in some of the renderings. That's a glass wall area, but that's all planned. It can come out so we can expand in the future if there's ever that need. And then the bluish area, those are multi-purpose rooms used as party rooms, used for team meetings, used for community group meetings. They'll have an operable wall in it so we can have it a bigger room or a smaller room. And then from the ice side of things, and what's kind of exciting, you come in and it's rear-loaded bleachers. So right now in the existing ice arena, you walk along between the dasher boards and the seats. So if you're watching a game, you have a lot of obstructed views. This does the opposite. It brings the circulation in up high, and then you go down to the seats. And what that allows us to do is capture that space underneath for team rooms. I'll show you in a little bit. And we have ADA seating opportunities. We provide multiple vantage points. And then at the far end, you see a stair. That's just a requirement for exiting purposes. So pretty straightforward. The big gray block you see on the left, that's really just the roof below of the Zamboni room. So I know sometimes these plans are hard to read when we do them day in and day out, but why don't we go to the next? And then this is the lower level. So if you go back to the front entry stair area where you're right off the lobby, and just north of that's the elevator, so there'll be an elevator in here for access. We have some mechanical and electrical space, the lower right, that's the gray. We have storage. We're trying to incorporate storage into this building. That's one of the things that makes them a little more useful, to have good storage. It's always a need. I mean, I think everyone in their house never has enough storage, so we're programming that in. And then we have some open area that's in the lighter gray. That's kind of your skate change area, open skate, a little bit of elbow room. And then we'll go to the right, and those are the team rooms. And we have 5 of them. And 2 banks of 2 share toilets and showers. So we have doors that will lock, so they're secure. And then we have the 5th one towards the bottom that is dedicated team room with toilets and showers. And I'm older, I can't see that. How big are the team rooms again on this one?
They're roughly 400 square feet.
400 square feet, which is a nice size team room. It's not overly obnoxious, but it gives you room, especially, quite frankly, I think your mites need more room than anyone because you have parents helping them and different things. So a really nice size team room. And then you'll see a wall that separates the ice sheet from the team rooms. That's really, we need that wall to help support the structure up above, but we're taking advantage of that and building in benches and seats and stuff for people to take advantage of. And then you see the ice sheet, like I mentioned, 85 by 200. We are doing kind of a community model with the dashboard, so we have our player boxes and then penalty box and scorekeeper all on one side. Makes seating more efficient, and it really helps when you're coaching youth and so on. You can communicate with your players in the penalty box and so on. So real nice setup. And then we have the purple area, skate rental. So we're right down on ice level. Kids can get their skates, put them on, go out, come off. for that purpose. Parents can too, or adults. We have some restrooms on that level, really to help support the on-ice activities. And then we have our coaches and refs suite with a shared toilet shower, so we're trying to, economize on those types of things. And then a large storage room, just to help with all your on-ice needs and building storage and so on. And then as we go up to the gray box, we have our Zamboni room in the corner. So similar to what you have now, it'll have a dump-in pit, but it's also set up, if we do a future expansion to the north and if it's ice, it allows us to expand that room and have access to both rinks from that Zamboni room. And then we have our refrigeration room, and then mechanical and electrical rooms, the stuff that supports it. What we like about it, it really, it's set up for, you come in, public can be up on top, so your spectators and so on. Players, athletes are down below, so there's a nice natural separation. And then you have your back of house, your dangerous stuff, Zamboni in and out. They're hard to see around as a Zamboni driver. So if we can separate that, make it a safe building. And then you'll notice a couple more dash boxes. That one there, that's what we call the storage yard. So all these arenas, we want to do a fenced-in enclosure area to store all the things they need to support the building. Things like transformers and propane fill and on and on. And then the other dash box, that long rectangle, that could be potential future dryland training. So what we're trying to do, I call it dryland, it's performance training. It's a workout space that skaters would use, figure skaters, hockey players, and so on, and really specific to their needs. So really trying to make it, have growth as a potential for it. Want to go next? Probably talking too long. Our front entry here, really what the driver and catalyst to this was really the new branding for the city of Bowie. Looking at that, trying to incorporate that into the building, also to make it a little lighter, not as serious of a building. Its nature is athletics and community and socializing. So we really pulled that in. And then next view, interior view. So this is the entry into the ice arena, into team shop, and this suggestion of bringing that branding inside to help define spaces. You see the blue and white on top. That's some acoustical baffles to help with sound, and then that, if you really look down at the end, you can kind of see the trees beyond. That's that glass window where it could be expanded in the future. Next. Some views here, sitting in that lobby area up above, looking down at the ice sheet. And then we're bringing natural light in. Part of that's LEED, part of that is, I'm a big believer in trying to add some of those components to these types of facilities because, let's face it, it's really dark out right now. You're using these at night. It's nice to know the lights are on, there's activity, the community's engaged. Next. Here's a view inside, so you can see the bleachers up above, and then you can see the access to the rooms down below. Those yellow bands on the end are, that front lobby behind the lower areas, the locker room. So real nice presentation of, of the facility. And
That's it.
That's it, yeah. And, the other thing I'll talk just for a titch on the technical side of this. We are looking at, using insulated precast wall panels, long span bar joists, so durable building made to work in this type of climate. These ice arenas, we ask them to do a lot. So we want to make sure we're using right materials that last, that aren't a maintenance headache, where we have condensation and those types of issues that can hurt a building. So really nice facility, compact, really replacing like for like and having a community identity, and we're excited about it. We feel like this has come a long way in a short period of time. I'll stop.
Appreciate the presentation. At this juncture, we're going to go into a Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we'd love to hear them. All right, gentlemen. So the question has to do with water and sewer?
Enough to have a water line running north-south along Route 197 right past our site, so getting water to the site is very easy. Sewer is a little bit more of a challenge, being that we're kind of bunkering down into that hollow part of the site. Rather than pumping raw sewage uphill to access the city sewer system, which is old and not in the best shape it can be in, we are going to the northwest of the building and tying into WSSC system that's on the golf course site. It's all fairly, it all has to be done and worked out and all of that, but it's all fairly simple.
Young gentleman right up here.
Okay. Hi, I'm Wyatt Burnick. I'm from Davidsonville, and I was wondering if the old rink would still be usable for like having multiple practices at once.
The plan for the current rink is to be demolished. Part of the facility assessment study back in 2021 found that it's not in as good shape as we would like it to be. Most of the building systems are failing or not in good shape. Structurally, it's probably okay.
I'll comment on the structure. The roof structure actually does not meet code anymore, so there are some significant issues.
So ultimately, it's planned to come down. What we do in its place, that has yet to be determined.
That you would do this first, and then the other part so we can demolish.
Yes.
There we are, there you are. I noticed in one of your schematics here that you had said you were going to widen the golf course driveway, is that correct?
Yeah, just an entry piece. Shows up that
And
way.
how many lanes are you putting in there?
It'll be a right turn and left out and left in, or right in. So we don't get a big backup at the intersection coming out of the golf course.
3 lanes, reducing down to 2. 1 lane in, essentially 1 lane out.
So they're all coming off 197 and they're waiting to turn left into the golf course, is that correct? So then all that's backed up on the 197?
We have 2 routes into the site. One is going to be directly across from Rockledge, so we have 2 ways in.
So you have 2 people trying to go left and backing all that up?
We most likely will have,
Christine, can you give her the mic so people can hear? Yeah, thanks.
most likely we will have most of our traffic turning left across traffic entering into the existing golf course entry.
Right, so what I'm seeing is what you're leaving out in the schematic is all of this down here.
To the south.
Correct, and as they're all backing up to turn left into this driveway, plus another 500 yards up into another left-hand turn lane, that's all backed up all the way back to the 7-Eleven into the little driveway. I can see that now if that's a single turn lane there to turn left. Are you going to put a light there to try to control this?
There is no light plan for the location.
So then all that neighborhood just has to kind of wait to be able to turn left on Rockville, on that road, or how is that little intersection there going to be compensated for all that backed up traffic?
Well, again, there's 2 intersections, there's 2 ways into the building. Half of that traffic is going to be coming from the north, half, well, maybe not half, but there's going to be some traffic coming from the north. We draw our users from all over the place. So there's multiple ways in. We have traffic studies as part of the feasibility study for
I
this
saw
site.
the traffic study.
And traffic is not going to be the great big morass that you may think it is.
Well, I saw the traffic report. It seems a little light because at one point it did say, there's not enough congestion here to justify a full traffic study. So I wonder if it's going to be backed up down a center lane, how is that going to work? Or is there an opportunity down the road that they can add one later?
So we will take a look at that. Appreciate your comment.
How long before this is finished? I mean, when we're actually operational?
Design is slated to be finished and ready to go to bid spring of next year. And construction times are TBD. We can't really estimate that. That's more on the contractor, but somewhere between 12 to 16 months is pretty typical.
to answer for inside, the accessibility for people who cannot go up steps to the second floor. Would it be an elevator and,
We do have an elevator.
Yep, there's an elevator.
okay. Or a ramp maybe, or just elevator?
Just elevator.
Okay, thanks.
Additional questions right here? Oh, right here.
I'm interested in how large the seating area is for hockey games and events that might be held there. How many can you seat?
Yeah, we have about 330 seats, plus we have the 14 ADA, and then there's standing room, obviously. So very similar to the number of seats, that currently exists, but I want to say all the rows are really good rows to sit in. The first row or the last row, we're not going to take the first 2 rows out of play, so it's a really, really nice size. When we deal with rinks like this, we really like that. It's nice, when you get 300 to 400 seats, it really has a good feel. And then you got to remember, there's some standing room, there's lobby, depending on the event, you can fill it up a little bit. Yep. Nope. Give your microphone back. Oh, we got another.
How wasn't the original site that was originally purchased the land for the previous ice skating rink? Why was that land not utilized?
I can't really answer that. That's outside of my purview.
And it's before my time, but my understanding of that site was that there were significant stormwater management issues. I do know that there was a challenge getting utilities to that site. It was raw land. There wasn't a whole lot there. There was an extensive, I should say there was a need to bring quite a long water and sewer line to the site. It was just not ideal for it. Now, I won't get into the history of the old project. I just won't. We could have used that site, but the plain truth is that the city still owns that site. They still have the ability to use that site for something else. Why ultimately it wasn't used, I just wasn't here for that.
We got another question in the back.
I'm going back to the parking image that you had, and if you could just give some detail. I didn't see lighting, and if you could talk about what the lighting would look like out there.
In the schematic rendering, there would be site or parking lighting, and it's something that our engineering team is working through and will be part of the scope of the project.
Hi, good evening. So I know the last ice arena was 2 sheets and this one is 1. So will this ice arena meet the capacity or the demands of the community? And if not, then do you have to, expand and build another one in about 5 or 10 years? In other words, is there room to grow, and what happens?
Yep.
It actually is within the design.
Yeah, I'm showing it here.
Yeah.
See the dashed lines, that's roughly the footprint of what we're proposing, and just expanded to the north. So that would be a future expansion, and then parking for that added expansion.
The site is large enough that we pretty much could take what we've got designed in terms of the parking and the building and literally flip it over and replicate it by 2. And that decision has to be made by our elected officials, and who knows when and if that will happen. We're not saying that that's going to happen. We're not guaranteeing anything. It's not even our decisions to make. We're just saying that we have a site that would allow us to do that. And I do want to say that ultimately what happens in the future, if this building does expand, it could be anything. It does not necessarily have to be ice.
Linda in the back.
from Harwood. I'm just wondering if the old building is going to be operational until the new building is completed, or there will be any lapse, or if there's any, condemning of the building that's going to happen, so that there's a smooth transition, from the old to the new.
So as far as the existing structure, the existing building, we got a great maintenance crew. We got the support of our council to keep it open and operational. We're doing our best to do that, realizing that it's a 50-year-old building with a lot of issues. I can't predict the future, but I can tell you that we're trying. We're trying to keep it open and trying to make sure that we can be successful with this project, constructing this building, and then do the move, do the transfer over. That is the goal.
Hi, Samantha Clark from Bowie. Are the bleachers accessible from the lower level?
I have a mic, so I understand. And I think it's a great point, and it's something we can take back to the design team and talk about.
Yeah, George Alpa, I live in Bowie on Manship Lane. Just out of curiosity, ice arenas use a lot of energy, particularly in the summer. Has any consideration been made for incorporating, for example, solar panels on the roof to kind of offset a lot of the, particularly in the summertime, the energy use?
Yeah, there's, with being LEED silver, we will have, some on-site power generation, so solar. Is the fancy way we say it in our business, but there'll be some solar. And then we do a lot of things with energy recovery on the mechanical units. So we take that air and capture the energy before we exhaust it and bring in new air. And then on the refrigeration system itself, unlike your existing system right now, we're able to capture the heat. When you make ice, you generate heat, and we use that heat to melt snow in a snow melt pit, so we can keep the building closed. 2, we heat underneath the ice sheet. It's called subsoil heating, so we don't get a frost buildup. Because if you get frost buildup, your ice sheet actually starts to bend and curl. So then you end up with maybe 2-3 inches of ice on one side, 1 inch in the middle, and that's ice that ultimately, when it gets too thick, becomes an insulator. So we're going to keep that as tight as we can to that 1 inch, 1.25 inch thickness all the way across. And then the other thing is there's still excess capacity. We capture that heat and use it to preheat the domestic water in the building, so for showers and so on. So we really squeeze all that energy out of it. And that's a big change in the last, I would even say 20 years, where we're really pushing the envelope, because they use a lot of energy. So if we can minimize that, it's a good thing. We'll have things like white roofs on here, so we don't have a black roof that absorbs heat. And then a good insulation, the right type of insulation. Right now in the existing building, the type of insulation in the walls really doesn't perform for an ice arena. So be very consistent and continuous around that ice box. When I talk about ice arenas, I say what we're trying to do is build a better refrigerator, and that's where we're getting to.
So Tom is addressing how this building is ultimately a LEED silver building, and those steps that they're taking to reduce the energy consumption on site. The city's initiative to address electricity and sustainability, we're going into our second phase of expanding. We have one phase in the solar farm that's down off of 214. We're going to be doing a second one. The net gain for the city for our total operations is to pursue these solar farm operations rather than very limited
On the
on-site
building.
solar like we have here at Kent Health Center as an example on the roof. So that's going to be our next step. We're excited about that next step, but those are the things that we're trying to do to help our energy usage throughout all of our operations for the city.
Is active. Stephen Italiano from Port Ridge section of Bowie. In reference to allaying fears of the public in the R section, is there any plan within the current right-of-way to be able to expand that center turn lane and to create better separation from through traffic and left turning traffic, as well as signage, support signage to help people navigate the turns between the senior center and the proposed new ice rink?
So you're speaking about the state highway, 197? So I believe that our traffic studies are going to outline what improvements are going to be needed. Ultimately, we'll take that comment into consideration.
Just a quick follow-up on the lead discussion. When will you think you will have an estimate of the amount of the energy costs related? And I'm just wondering how it compares and what we can say about what I would imagine might be the cost savings compared to keeping the existing site open now.
So you're talking about energy modeling, basically. At what point do you think we're going to be there?
Probably as we get into, we're at the schematic phase, so we finally have a floor plan that, we feel pretty good about, and, we're taking these comments, that's gonna impact that. And then the next phase, when the engineers jump into it, then we'll start that energy modeling. So it'll be, a few months yet.
We believe I believe what you are alluding to is going to be accurate, that we have a 50-year-old facility that is not well insulated, that has outdated mechanical systems. I believe this is going to be a much more efficient facility.
So, golf course, still gonna be 18 holes? Or are you cutting it to 16 holes, or
It
what?
will still be 18 holes.
Still 18 holes.
That's for sure.
So it will remain as an 18-hole course.
How close are we to getting this building funded, since there's a lot of issues in the current building that I'm hearing? And is it safe to be in the current ice rink based upon all the issues that are going on?
We don't have a report saying it's unsafe to be utilized. As far as funding is concerned, our project team is going to be coming forward with a CIP request through the budget cycle this year. They already funded this engineering program to design and engineer this project. So for the FY25 year, we plan on having construction costs, asking the city council for construction costs.
So I was wondering if there would be a water filling station in the lower level, and if not, would there be a way for players to access the upstairs level with skates on?
Skates up and down those stairs is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, we'll consider the bottle filling station.
I can assure you, though, that we will have that.
We got that, right?
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah,
That's a standard, it's usually a couple, one upstairs, one downstairs. Operationally, we'll have to talk through that, skate traffic throughout the building. Anyone else?
Any other? So the question is, what is the life expectancy of this new building?
Yeah, and, the technology's come a long way, so the life expectancy I would put, easily at 50 years, probably more. There's buildings that are built like this that are well over 50 years old. They still, are running well. It still means you have to maintain roofs. You still have to maintain, your systems in it. But as far as that box and that shell, it's durable. I mean, it's concrete, it's steel bar joists, it's meant to last.
Councilman Estev.
Real quick, everyone, I'm Mike Estev on the City Council. I'm joined by two of my incoming colleagues, Ms. Wanda Rogers at large and Mr. Dennis Brady, who some of you will know at large as well. Real quick, the issue of traffic has come up quite a bit. The current ice arena
and Allen Pond Park are currently on Northview Drive, and a section of Northview Drive that goes from 2 lanes to 1 now. What day-to-day traffic issues are we having on Northview Drive presently?
So I'm gonna defer this to Carrie, since she is at the rink every day. And Carrie, go for it.
That's an important point. Thank you for asking that question. We currently do not have any backups. Even on our busier weekends when we have tournaments, figure skating competitions, the parking lot gets busy. There has never been a backup on Northview Drive.
Thank you, Carrie. Yes. What?
Is this NFL compliant? I mean, not football, I mean hockey. Is this hockey compliant?
What do you mean?
In other words, in your letters it says NFL level 9.
NHL.
It's just a size.
NHL size, so that means the ice sheet size. No, there's 330 seats in it. They need 17,000. So this is a community rink. Yep. Yeah. No. So there's, in the ice arena world, there is one standard on ice sheets, and they give you NHL and Olympic. And college actually doesn't have a standard. They just say it has to be between X and Y and Z and A. So we typically follow the standard because that's what most rinks are built to. So when kids are training, adults are playing, they're used to that size ice sheet.
I was curious because you said a separate players entrance, and I thought, well, she doesn't want to be separated from her child. The players who really play, you know, this is calculated.
So I'm gonna let Carrie comment on that a little bit too, because there's a very, there's a real reason why you would want a player entrance, so.
First off, if I could just ask you to please wait for a microphone so we can all hear you. I know there's some people in the back that are having trouble here. As far as the players' entrance goes, these hockey players have sticks, they have enormous sized bags. The goal to keep them separated, and that's whether a parent's coming in with them with an 8U, or whether it's an adult for adult pickup hockey or high school. The goal is to keep that separate from the general public. Because if you, as a general, patron sitting up in the lobby, were knocked over by a big hockey bag, we know teenagers aren't always aware of their surroundings. Sticks, can be dangerous. That is the whole point of keeping that separation. The hockey players come in, the parents are still welcome to come in the hockey entrance with them. We have a hockey entrance now. When used properly, it works to separate that. When we have, it's a constant, the staff's constantly on top of it. Please come through the hockey entrance when we have a busy public session. The lobby is very busy. We need to keep those sticks and bags out of the lobby, which puts them at the hockey entrance, straight by the locker rooms. Okay?
Thank you. Right here. And then we're gonna get to the back of the room. All right, she's going back there. Good.
Additional staff needed to maintain the building?
No, this is a 1-for-1 replacement. So what we have at the Allen Pond site right now, we're trying to replicate 1-for-1. So it's the exact same service provided between the two. So there should not be an additional staffing need. In the back.
Hi, I am a Bowie resident, and I've also participated in the adult classes, so I am very excited for this. Just wondering if you have any insights on potential costs for the services that are provided, if they will remain the same, if they will increase.
So you're talking about the fee schedules, stuff like that?
Yes, like classes. Things
Yeah, we have not gotten into fee schedules at this point. Another person in the back.
With this model, is there going to be an area for off-ice training so that the hockey players are not disrupting the figure skaters or the public skaters that are on the ice while hockey teams are starting to come in?
We have it as a future expansion area, a true dryland training center. But with that being said, the way this building's setting up, there's just more elbow room than the current facility. So I think you'll find it to be a big improvement on that and how we separated, the spectators from the athletes. So I think naturally you'll just have a little better space for that and a better functioning building.
Carrie has.
I'd like to mention one. The current thought process behind the multipurpose rooms is to truly be able to use them for multipurpose. We will before we see any off-ice training extensions or additions to the building, we'll be able to use, the floor is going to be, acceptable for classes, community meetings, stick handling, study hall, etc. So that's the goal, is to make sure that, it's not just for our users, we'll also open up the meeting rooms for classes as well as community groups that need meeting space.
Any more questions? You're good.
No, it's all good.
That's why we're here today.
No, I just wanted to expand on what Wendy was talking about for the off-ice. Is there an exit to the back of the building where the future expansion of the second rink would be, where during nice weather, the kids could go out, like at the current rink, they'll go outside the hockey entrance and use the grass area to warm up and things like that. So that won't be an emergency exit, so the kids can go out and come back in?
It's dual purpose. It's emergency exit, but also gives us access to that backside of the building.
So they could potentially use that?
Yep.
Additional question? Great. Yes, sir.
Andrew Burtnick. So my question actually piggybacks off of Lori's. You guys have done a great job of walking us through virtually the inside of the building and understanding what it looks like there, the parking lot, the drive-in. The expansion site, the empty field that we were just talking about, have there been any discussions of what that will be used for in the meantime, as far as other multi-purpose sports or anything like that, or is the plan to keep it empty and used for dry land, et cetera, like Lori said?
Right now, as we have it planned, it's turf, it's grass. Not really scheduled for anything because it slopes.
Yeah, it's not going to be designed based on the topography of the lot. It's not going to be designed as athletic fields, for instance. There's not going to be a different type of use. It's just going to be grassy, meadow area that it's going to be have to be maintained. But that's about it. That's still owned by the It would be owned by the city of Bowie, yes. Yeah. Yes.
My name is Joanne Marshall Hobbs, and I'm a resident of Bowie. I know you said there is a CIP request in FY25 for the funding. So has the funding been allocated for this yet, or it still has to be allocated? And is it a single year funding, or will it cross over to multiple years?
So what I indicated was that we will be requesting the funding. Our budgetary process just started, so we got our forms community services and the other departments got our forms this week. We submit our forms, just a little background on the budgetary process. We submit our forms to the city manager. It's like the second week of January, thereabouts. City council ultimately reviews it from late March through May. They adopt the budget in May. So that's the time period. That's for fiscal year 25 that's coming up. So again, our request will be, once we get more detailed estimates from through this design process, will be to request whatever those estimates call for the replacement of the ice arena. That will be requested. I believe it's going to be FY25 based on our construction timeline. And so city council will see that on their radar this budget cycle coming up. Whether it crosses over to another budget year will strictly have to do with like permitting, stuff like that. So does that answer the question? Yeah, thank you. Yes.
So, but I wanted to go back in Jenkins. My son has been playing hockey for 5 years. So I'm in Upper Marlboro, but we are really invested to this. So the concession, I never heard anything about the concession inside the rink. Will there be a concession stand?
Yes.
Yep.
So you want to talk about food services?
Sure.
Yeah.
So right there where Derek's circling it with the big green arrow, that's the concession area. So there's a concession window that you'd walk up to, and then there's also the concession storage area, everything you need to support that. So, very similar, in size to what's at the existing arena right now. Just a little different layout, maybe a little more efficient.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
One thing I want to mention is we have this really nice fly-through. So, these plans show some of it, but we put a fly-through, so you come through the front door, kind of go through facility, go through a typical team room, and you can get a sense of it. We'll have that up on the monitor during the breakout sessions.
So I'm going to reintroduce Carrie here. She's going to talk about the breakout sessions.
So we have a couple of questions, 3 questions to be exact, on the board here on the wall. We'd like for you guys to give us some feedback, provide some insight, for us. There are sticky pads here, there's pens. Please come up and take turns, rotate through. As Tom mentioned, he's going to show a fly-through video. There's also some picture boards. Please take the time to review those. The floor plans are listed, the aerials, the site plan, as well as some images from inside. After you answer these questions, please, please hang around because we'd like to discuss them. We'd like to address some of the questions, some of the answers to our questions. Okay? Then everybody go ahead and, somebody's got a question back there.
Thank you. Will the diagrams and the schematics be uploaded to the Bowie website so we could see them?
They will be, and they will also be, this presentation is being recorded, so it will be on the City of Bowie's YouTube channel. Okay?
But we'll make sure that these get up on the website as well this week.
And anyone who follows the City of Bowie's Facebook page or the Bowie Ice Arena's Facebook page, they'll be made available as well.
If folks have comments that they'd like to share online, any feedback on this project, where's the best place for them to send that?
Jim, you want to? He's the project manager, so he'll be consolidating all of the comments. I think that's a great point. Thank you, Councilman Ested. Jim, you want to share your information?
Jim, what's your home address? I know where you live, but the people don't yet.
I know you know where I live, yeah. My wife told me that you visited the house just the other day. Unfortunately, she told me just that last night.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to please come on up and give us some answers to our
All right, I'm going to invite Carrie, our ice arena manager, up here for this next part. You want me to read ones off?
Okay, if I could have everybody take a seat for me. Again, I know it's a school and work night. I appreciate everybody hanging around for this. We really want to make sure we get everybody's feedback.
You want to walk over here with the mic and just talk online?
All right, can everybody hear me? It won't be too loud here. All right, so this question is there anything not included in the proposed design that you would like to see? And I'm assuming everybody who wanted to answer did. So we've got a state-of-the-art concession stand with a variety of items. We've got a bit larger of an opening main lobby space. The lobby itself could be after-hour venue that the city could rent out for more revenue. New rinks seem so sterile, more color, unless that affects the efficiency. Does ceiling have to be solid white? These are all good questions. Why not go ahead and do 2 sheets now to increase ability for hockey, figure skating competitions and tournaments? I would like to see the color yellow, white, and black for the overall team color. In an emergency like a fire, how would people who couldn't use the stairs get down from the 2nd floor if the elevator was not being used? Will there be ramps? I would like to see a new and better entrance to get on the ice with skates on. Wheelchair accessible ramp. Clearly marked entrances to the lower level for skate rental for the public visiting who may not know since it is no longer as soon as you walk in. Vending machines, they're already planned. Possibility of using marsh pegs instead of steel pegs. That's a goalie question. Bet you guys didn't know, didn't think I'd know that, huh? A 2nd sheet of ice. I would like to see the concession stand to stay open and sell some pregame or postgame items like energy drinks. Use future expanded space behind the rink to expand for pickleball. Very popular. Public art. Perhaps the Bowie High School students could come up with a design, have a contest for students to submit suggestions. The design looks fine, but it would be nice to see how the proposed site size compares to size of the current rink. I like the description of the seating viewing area. I believe more thought has to go into the traffic situation. Okay. Do we want to address any of those? Have any comments from the design team on that? I can start if we want to put me on the spot. Okay. All of these items have either been taken into consideration or will be taken into consideration as we go through the finalizing the design process. Obviously, the concession stand is something that we want to see back open and operating. The 2nd sheet of ice, we are designing it to be able to accommodate expansion, whether it be a 2nd sheet or something other than an ice sheet. So appreciate everybody's comments on that. We're going to move on to what kind of public art do you envision at the ice arena? I like this one. Team championship photos. We better have a few of those. Some flower art and people life art. I like that. A mural for players, coaches, contributors, memorial. Tommy Jensen, rest in peace. Yep. Art from children in the local public-private schools and or from those who often visit the arena from other areas. Art. Skaters art, every level. Figure skating, hockey theme. Easily accessible frames in the uniform size so art can be rotated. Art. Promote art competitions through community libraries to foster buy in the facility. Public art, rotation of our current hockey player pictures, highlighted monthly or quarterly. Rotating art from Bowie schools, photos of skating programs, and someone says, I second this. Ode to Existing Bowie Ice Arena, Capitol Center, 1974 to 2003. Someone is dating themselves. And it's not me. Woodwork from Allen Pond Rink. We all love our rafters. Again, the public art aspect will be taken into consideration. We've already discussed some ideas, and we'll continue to discuss that. And I'm sure we'll include the art committee for the city as well. The last question that we asked for feedback on is, what did you like most or least about the proposed design tonight? What I like least about the design is the color. It should be black, yellow, and white to represent the Bowie logo instead of rainbow. I do want to make sure, if you didn't see, through the fly-through and some of the images, the cap rail, you see right up there now, the cap rail is slated to be black. There's a lot of gold in there. The bleachers also incorporate the Bowie's black and gold, which represents not only the hockey club, but the figure skating club. You see these colors transition through the kick plate, the dasher board cap rail, as well as some of the walls downstairs in the locker rooms. So we know how important those colors are in the skating community, and we definitely keep that in mind. Okay, con, no access to bleachers from lower level. Pro, I like the bright open design. Worry about potential expansion with the tightness of the lot. Will the two parking lots next to both sheets be tied together or access only from the street? Love it, can't wait for it. Love the colors, Bowie resident. What I like least, the non-intrusive signage in the interior lobby perspective image. View of the shop and bleacher entrance. Suggest more accurate signage to be more easily direct skater traffic down the stairs. Signage is important, and we'll certainly continue to develop that. Would like more of a state-of-the-art concession stand, the one we have served minimal items. I like the colors, I like how big it is. I enjoy the easy accessibility of the walking space down rinkside for warm-ups and other activities. I like that it will be new, it feels organized. I hope the concession will be affordable as it used to be and open more often. Looks clean and modern. Appreciate how it will tie into the local landscape and golf course too. Blue does not fit. Bowie and white doesn't look good. The color scheme does not fit the character of the building. What I like most, lead silver design proposed, still widely accessible to Bowie residents, commercial location, well-traveled road to increase its visibility. I like the plans, but I will hope for a bigger pro shop than the current one. Also in the future, 2 sheets of ice. Think about it, more ice means more tournaments, which means more money, with a smiley face. So again, we really appreciate everyone's comments and input on this, and I think this is all part of the design process that we'll take into consideration. We've got a really good design that we've been working on, that we've developed. And we continue to develop in weekly and bi-weekly meetings. These guys are getting sick of seeing us on Zoom, on MS Teams. But these are important things to hear back from the community on what you guys want. So I really appreciate the feedback. Okay?
So one item that I heard quite a bit from these comments are coloration, how it's artistically rendered. Rather than just hearing, I don't like X, if anybody would like to contribute some comments and some thoughts that the design team can take back, that would be fantastic. Not holding anybody on the spot, but if you'd like to, more than happy to listen. We have great artists that will work on it. So we'll take all this feedback and we'll bring it back. From the City of Bowie standpoint, our design team, we really appreciate everybody coming out this evening and contributing to this process. It's extremely valuable for us to hear from our residents and the users of the facility to know, what do we have, what are we doing right, what do we still need to work on, and your comments have been immensely valuable. So thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure.
we're here if you have any questions.